Hey guys, Revan619 here. I've been meaning to do this video for a while, seeing as it is the other half of the meta, but I'm going to finally update my dark build so you can see what fashion I'm using, setup, stats and weapons, so you understand how this half of the meta works. So I'll just talk about what we've got on the standard loadouts. There's a lot of swaps going here. So I've got the Dark Infused Got Hards, Offhand Castus, Black Knight Shield, Light Crossbow, Build Mask, Millwood Chest, Dancer's Gauntlets, Black Iron Gauntlets, standard rings there. I will link this in the description. You can swap the Castus to the Sigtram Philinoff, and the Got Hards you can swap to just about any dex weapon that you've either Chaos or Dark infused. So we're going to go through and talk about the sort of differences and when you want to be using these. But this is the build that has the options. The Dark Dex build is the new quality build. You've set it up so you can use all the good shields, you can use all the swaps, you can even swap the Black Knight Shield to the Arbalist if you want. There's my stats, there's my defensive scene. We're still not quite hitting the 30%, but honestly since I've been done the Latency video, I don't really much care about absorption. So yeah, that's my fashion, so that's what I'm going with rather than optimizing that. Yeah, so let's get into some duels. Okay, these duels are not being recorded live like I would do normally. You see, we had some issues with connections lately, and I don't know if it's me or if it's everyone, but a lot of people have been talking about some connection issues that have been going on. I think Xbox had to even have maintenance because they've been having some issues. So yeah, if you look at this, this is what it was like. If you saw Dramatic's 1000 sub special, we sort of ham-acted it up a little bit to make it more comical for people to listen to. But this was what Dramatic looked like on my side of the screen when we were dueling. It was crazy. But yeah, because I've been seeing this a lot, normally when I do my dark builds, I always use the Lothric Night Sword because obviously it's got slightly higher damage, it's slightly shorter, but it has more crit. So I like to backstab, punish and stuff like that. But what I've been realising is, seeing as the remaster's coming soon, there's been a lot of server issues, it's not going to be long before, obviously, there's not that many people playing, the connections are going to be pretty bad. So as they're getting worse, I'm starting to think that reach is way more important than damage. So the fact that you can actually land the hits in the first place, rather than doing the most damage per hit, which I think, especially considering the other half of the meta being Pontiff Knight Curved Sword, in lag you're not going to be able to outspace it with a Lothric Night Sword. And I think that having the option to have the Got Hards as the main and then swap for everything else is very important. So I've updated my build to go under 30% absorption. I've put on the Havel's ring so I can use the Got Hards, Black Knight Shield and a crossbow. And yeah, I'm going to go through some of these options. Some of these clips are older because I was recording this before the connection issues jumped in. But yeah, if we look at something that I did recently, is you can also swap like your main sword to everything else. One of the ones I did was Murky Hand Scythe. Now the Chaos version does a lot more damage than the Dark version because Chaos didn't get nerfed whereas Dark did. However, if you notice how low my damage is on this guy's on a 66 strength build. So against strength builds, the actual Dark version does way more damage, and same against like people blocking with Black Knight Shield, the Dark version will still actually chip more than the Chaos version. So it depends on your opponent's build what you want to use. Like I said, you can swap to the Scimitar, which is the same length as the Scar. Not as good as Pontiff Knight Curved Sword, but it's still the fastest moveset in the game. Yeah, Curved Swords are just way faster than any other weapon class. Normally, if you're trading with someone, you can actually come out with positive swings. Say you both hit R1 at the same time you trade. If the Curved Sword is mashing R1, he'll probably get off an R1 before a Straight Sword can continue trading, so they'll get 2 free hits rather than trading. I've seen them do it to S stock lately. I don't know if that's connection related or if that's consistent. But yeah, the build itself, like I said, this is the new quality build. You don't change anything. If you want to use the Scimitar, you swap to the Scimitar. If you want to use the Got Hards, you use the Got Hards. If you want to use the Lothric Night Sword, you use the Lothric Night Sword. If you want to use Murky Hand Scythe, you use that. And if you want to use S-Stock, you swap to that. So Scimitar, you're going to be using it when you're looking to punish people, when you're playing mostly reactive punish, and again you can use Perseverance like I am here. You can put the regen shield on your back. Straight Sword Got Hards is going to be when you want to be defensive and outreach people, same with Lothric Night Sword, and you can obviously use all the different shields depending on the elements of what your opponent's using to reduce damage. You can use the Dragon Head shield to set up the combos, and of course you can always use the Perseverance buff and crossbows to punish. Against, say, a spellcaster who's only running away, what you really want to be doing is swapping to the S-Stocks. It's much easier to punish a coward with an S-Stock than it is... Sorry, I said coward, I meant caster, sorry. It's much easier to punish a caster with an S-Stock than any other weapon because the shield poke is actually surprisingly fast and good for roll catching. So what you do here is you run around the spells and jep. that's pretty much how you do it and punish it. Now, if you're ever playing as a caster, by the way, you always want to... Oh, that was a bad trade there for me. But if you ever want to like play as a caster, always queue on this map. And the reason is because pursuers won't hit walls as much, so people running around it will have to roll back through, and they can still risk getting hit in the back. And of course, like I said, Lothric Knightsword, almost exactly as useful as Gotthards, except from obviously it's got the much more useful weapon up, because obviously the hyper armor and you take 6% less damage. It's good for roll catching people who panic roll around you. Does more damage. So normally if you're just fighting random arena people, it's probably Lothric Knightsword, whereas if you're fighting a tryhard, definitely the Gotthards before the reach, and because the weapon art is just going to get you punished. So yeah, now we're going to go into some normal duels for the setup. So those are just some little spin-offs that I caught before I changed up things. So yeah, the Gotthards, they just have really good reach. And like I said, look at the connections that we've been seeing lately. Like, I've checked my connection, I'm still 150 down, 30 up. Against people I regularly play with, my connection's absolutely perfect against like B-dubs and all sorts of things like that. But against arena randoms, I don't know if it's because I'm getting matched more with people from Australia and Japan, but I'm just not seeing local people anymore. Like before, I used to see a lot of East Coast Americans, a lot of Europeans and stuff. I'm seeing less of them. I'm seeing mostly like West Coast Americans. I'm seeing mostly Japanese players and Australian players. So it's just a slight connection issue. It varies from tiny to extreme. There's some mistakes there. I walked into some spells I shouldn't have. But yeah, because of that, I'd say Gotthard's a little bit better, because the running attack, the running L1 is very useful. Some people sometimes walk into the L1's trades on there, but you mostly want to use this like just a standard straight sword. And again, if your opponent runs off, put on regen. I have no problems with regen of spells. It is your opponent's job to punish you, not your job not to try everything to win. So if you notice here, I'm actually trying to get a little bit more aggressive with the running attacks to try and finish and punish him. But he's retreating with a great sword. So again, crossbows. Crossbows punish that amazingly. Like, you want to use everything within your arsenal to push back to your opponents, to punish them, to really play against them. See, against an opponent here, he's got a parry shield. So normally I would go for an R1 when he was running in like that, but I'm worried about the parry. So you can swap to Dragonhead, or you can try send him up with the like the crossbow like I'm doing. And again, connection issues. It's I don't know if it's the times I play, or if it's just connections are just generally getting worse. Like I said, I've had people tell me that it's been ridiculous on Xbox. I've had a few people on PC mention it's been really bad lately. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if FromSoft are going to address it. But yeah, against someone with parry shield, Dragonhead shield, because obviously if they're trying to look to set up parry, it just makes your attack safe. Because obviously, look, he went for a parry there. If I'd R1, he probably would have got that parry, swapped to a Chaos Dagger, and I would have just been like dead. Good 1500 damage. You don't have that much health in the arena. So against, say, an Ultra, it's standard stuff here. Now, you've noticed I make a mistake there. I thought I was attacking between the hyper arm frames. I was not. Got punished like crazy. I've also recently discovered against one of the setups that someone likes to use is Corvian Dagger with Ultra Greatsword, Dark Infused. And what he does is he'll hit you with the Corvian Dagger, and then if they panic roll, he'll get 2 hits by catching them with the Ultra Greatsword. Now, if your opponent just outspaces the dagger and punishes the Ultra Greatsword, very easy to counter. However, if they have connection issues, running attacks like that, I can walk around running attacks normally, but if they have connection issues, somehow they'll still hit you from the side or behind them. And what I have found is Black Knight Shield will still actually block very well. Like, you'll only take, what, 80 chip, if even that, from most Dark Infused Ultra Greatswords. So yeah, block it if you have to. Like, always have your block up. Roll if you need to. Obviously, you don't want to be taking hits on your shield. But if you're worried about it, don't do it. Now, this guy here is trying some sort of meme thing. I think he wants to parry me, and he's on a Flynn build, and he'll swap to a one-shot parry riposte or a Chaos Dagger thing. He's probably making a YouTube video. Yeah, I'm not the guy who's going to fall for that, because I'll just trade with his punches, and I'll just hit him with the crossbow. But yeah, memesters, not going to be in this top 10 troll video. So again, this time I've come across against that guy who I fought earlier, who was a bit laggy. He swapped to a curve sword. Did you see that? Like, just 2 hits going off clean through the flames. So yeah, I'm just R1 mashing here. Wasn't watching my stamina, should have done that. Don't over-invest. Like, that's one thing. Dark Souls is a very simplistic game. It's never going to be Evo, it's never going to be top tournament level because of just how simple and flawed it is, which is why it is so inherently beautiful. The flaws is what makes this game really fun. The fact that you create your own character. I think the thing that puts me off most about like proper try-hard fighting games these days is you're playing someone else's character, and yeah, beating another character or using a top tier character or whatever, you don't normally play to your best but playing the characters you like. Like, if you get lucky and you say you like the new fighters and you you can just use anyone, because you can use whatever your favourite Dragon Ball Z character is, but it's not the same as, say, Xenoverse, where you create your own character, and for me that's much more enjoyable, as having my own little roleplayed sort of dude to play with it. And I think that's why Dark Souls is so beautiful, even though it's flawed. But anyway, I've wandered off talking about nothing. This is what I do when I start mumbling and rambling. So yeah, laggy people, Dragon Head Shield. Parry tools, Dragon Head Shield. Lightning Arrow spammers, you've got Lightning Lothric Knight's Shield, which is absolutely fantastic. Against some magic people, you can swap to some of the magic shields, but again, if they swap between their dark spells, I think they only lose like 20 damage going from a crystal longsword to a dark longsword, which, yeah, if they're losing dark damage, they should always definitely carry that. So a high magic block shield isn't always going to be that useful, because they'll swap to the dark variants. So you'll mostly just want to run around their spells and punish them with the S stock. This guy, I have no idea what he was doing. He fell off, started trying to hide, and I just started him with crossbow bolts, and then he tried to run from me when I went down there. I managed to catch him with a free aim bolt, and then I don't think he was paying attention to his health, and he just sort of jumped down here and died. Like, this adds absolutely nothing to the video. I just thought the clip was quite funny. There's some poop, there's some poop, and there's some poop. Yeah, people who run away get poop. Okay, so one of the other things, I have been talking about the Perseverance trick, you've seen me use it a couple of times, is this guy here. Like, I went to go and get him there, and he got a decent trade there. But what you can do is put on Perseverance, and you can walk in, and you've got, like, huge damage reduction. So you can just R1 spam, catch people through their hyper armor, and you'll take reduced damage. I think you go up to something like 60% absorption. I'll have to fact check that. But it's a really good way to close in on your opponent. And again, the fact that you have all these weapons to swap with, whenever you see something that might be slightly tricky to counter with whatever your usual setup is, you can just swap. Like, you don't need to, because straight swords are straight swords, but if you want to swap to be able to punish people like that'll roll catch so easily. And if you look here, I swap weapons just to show off the sort of difference between the damage. See how minor that is? And he's on a quality build. If he was on a strength build, the dark one would definitely be better. Any other build than, yeah, the chaos one, because dark got nerfed, chaos didn't. One thing that I don't think I talked about too much was on the Gotthards, the rolling attack when people are chasing you is actually really useful because of the reach. Like, it won't stun them, so you shouldn't get ready to R1 mash, but if people are trying to chase you down and you roll away from an R1, you can actually then punish them with a rolling R1 pretty nicely. I think I've got a couple of clips where I show that here, but yeah, it's one of those things I found it's quite useful. Like, you can use rolling L1s, but obviously once they see you two-hand that, they know it's coming. But people never expect a roll poke, so it's actually really useful. Oh, something about the S-Stock that's also useful is it can backstab quicker than other weapons if you use the shield poke. Because of how quick the attack comes out, for some reason it just initiates the backstab grab quicker. So yeah, this guy here again, he's got a parry tool out, he's very laggy, somehow he got a backstab whilst he was eating R1s. So if you see, I swapped to the Dragon Head Shield to try and punch it. When I go for my running attacks, I two-hand to try and catch him with the second one if I don't hit him with the first one. But yeah, you can see sort of the connection issue we have here. But see that? Rolled through his R1s, and then I went for the roll poke, and the reach just got him on the phantom range. Like I said, it's actually quite useful on the Gotthards. Like, if you start doing it too much, people will expect it and they'll start punching the crap out of you. But if they don't realise it's coming, it's actually really useful. So this guy, laggy, notice the connection there. Like, yeah, I realised I was like, I'm not going to be able to punish these running attacks very usefully. But again, still got my crossbow, still got my shield. I think I actually decided against using the scimitar because I wanted the extra reach, because yeah, the connections were just so weird. I was like, if I'm going to hit him, I'm going to have to try and do it from a safe distance so I'm not getting smacked myself. Yeah, I know the L1 combo into the R1s. I haven't checked if the R1s combo into the L1s. It's been a while. If someone knows, let me know in the comments. And actually, yeah, if there's any actually dark useful weapons I haven't brought me that you think might be useful, then let me know. Because I know some people like to have a dark washing pole, but I didn't really think I could justify the weight for it. But I might, actually, I haven't checked on how much they weigh compared to the Gotthards. I might even be able to get that on there. But yeah, again, shield turtles. The reason that shield turtles are so amazing, even if in the meta duel, Pontiff Knight Curve Sword, due to speed, reach, and trading, has a slight advantage in the R1 game. What it doesn't have an advantage in is how much the Black Knight Shield counters everything else. Like, really big weapons you can just move safely. Like, anything physical is safe for you to move around, and if you mess up your spacing, you're completely safe. And crossbows can't punish you as well. Like, a crossbow damage to your shield is like 8. You'll regen that pretty much by the time they've reloaded. Not all of it, but you're going to be much safer than you are with a curved sword. So yeah, with Ponton Knight curved sword, you don't want to be getting into an R1 trading game. You don't want to be getting like too caught up in them chasing you down. But when you have options like obviously the crossbow yourself, the dragon head, the rolling pokes, you can swap to an X-Dot, you can swap to a curved sword, you can swap to the dagger, you can swap to the murky hand scythe. You've got so many options to be able to put pressure back, and the fact that you can use perseverance quicker, it really puts things, like, it evens it out between the straight sword. It doesn't matter as much that the Ponton Knight curved sword, if you trade, will get a free hit if you try to keep going. It doesn't matter as much if they've got a slightly better running attack. It doesn't matter if it's got slightly more reach. If you can use the reach of the Gotthards and the shield, and effectively, I think that you can fight toe-to-toe with them, maybe even a little bit better. I said as a joke before with Dramatic that we might have to do a best of 9, but I think I actually might do that one, because it would be really good to test it, like the Gotthards, the extra reach, see how much difference that makes against Pontiff Knight curved sword. And if I'm obviously, since I've been learning to free aim, so I did that thing, if you've seen crossbows and memes, we were dueling Gabri, he beat us a couple of times, and then we went on some massive 20 streak once B-Dubs explained how to free aim the crossbows a little bit better, and like he mentioned like where you can look on your character to do the aim for it, and it was the same as like the Pyromancer, the way, if you ever watched how I explained how to free aim, you've got sort of an invisible crosshair above your shoulder with your Pyromancy glove, and you've got a similar sort of crosshair with the crossbows. Like there's certain armors like the Fire Witch armor, the Ring Knight armor, that have spikes on the sides of the arm that will show you where your crossbow's pointed, and once you've got that down, you obviously don't need to wear those armors. That's just to help you sort of learn those sort of things. And yeah, so you can combine all that, and I just think that the utility of the straight swords makes them better. The fact that you can use all of these things, like this dark build, like again, the reason you go dark is so you can chip through shields, and the fact that you've got the utility of all the weapon classes at your disposal, it just makes you fighting in the arena against everything else so much easier. Like this guy I was memeing around with, and he got me a few times, but if I had actually just played smart with my shield, there would have been nothing he could have done to really get in me. Like this guy here using spells, so this is something that you have to be wary of your shield. Don't know why he's not using the Sage's Rings. His stuff is crazy slow. But what's funny with the Black Knight shield is it's got really high resistances to fire. It's like 60 or something? Nearly, yeah, it's in the 60s. But because of that, that means the R1s of the Demon Scar actually don't do much. You can actually block Chaos Bed Vestiges rather than roll. But you just have to be wary of that, obviously, that Black Flame. Parting Flame, Black Flame will guard break you. The actual regular Black Flame won't, but it will do a lot of chip. As you saw there, I was able to catch that guy with the rolling. Now, to compare earlier, like you saw me take that guy with S-Stock, even with the reach of the Gotthards, you can actually punish them quite nicely. Now, you have to be very wary in this map, because pursuers, like, you can avoid them, and they'll actually come around and catch you in the back. So it's best to run to one side, and then run to the right, and then roll left, and they'll hit the floor. And that way they won't come back to bite you in the butt like they just did there on me. So this guy here, he's not using regular homing soul mass. That's much harder to punish because it casts much quicker. But see the way I moved there? Most of them hit the floor, and one of them did come back, but it dissipated before it got to me. Bad free aim was bad. But yeah, sort of against the spellcaster, you don't really want to be running into that whole turn away game, because that's something like a lot of like Kai, Prima, and some other spellcasters will do. They'll try to get you to run into those orbs, which they'll then combo in straight sword R1s. So if you can keep close to them and punish them when they go for their casts, there's a little trick that you can use to know what they're casting. If it's light blue, it's probably homing soul mass. If it's dark blue, it's probably like a great soul arrow. And if it's sort of crystal, that's probably crystal soul spear. So you know sort of how much time it will take them to cast. Homing soul arrow, the only thing homing soul mass, the only thing you're really going to punish that is with a crossbow. So you want to kind of have your free aims ready. Yeah, great soul arrow you can probably get with running attack. Crystal soul spear you can actually just run to the side and go with the R1s. Just be very careful you don't obviously eat them in the face. Like you saw me there earlier, I ran into the Dark Blade and then he got two R1s and it just obliterated my health. But once I stopped running into that, it becomes very easy. Like this time I decided that I was just going to keep on him with the pressure. So he's trying to set up some buffs here and some spells. So I come with the R1s. Wasn't watching my stamina, so I couldn't roll. But yeah, so he backs up and he starts trying to set up his spells. So he's trying to put on buffs for some reason rather than just running away, which was silly. Like, a spellcaster has to be the Usain Bolt simulator. They need to be running from you, otherwise they're not going to be able to do anything. Like, yeah, it's unless you're using a melee weapon, it's the only way spellcasters can play. That's why they're so boring compared to Dark Souls 2. But this is the last clip that I was going to have, because I've been talking about absolutely nothing for a little while. I'm rambling. But yeah, this is my current Dark build. Sorry this wasn't a usual video that I would do where I'd just duel and talk about and explain the strengths and weaknesses. It was unfortunately just connection issues and stuff. They'd been so bad I couldn't keep a coherent string of thoughts whilst I was playing. But let me know what you think about the build, and yeah, we'll see if we get that best known genetic.